Good morning. Good morning. It's Tuesday, February 3rd. I am so glad to see every one of you. Tony, Lonnie, Rana, Livy, Michelle, Alka, Sandra, Josephine, May, and Richard. So happy to see all of you. And anyone else who joins us, as we so often find people join us a little bit late. Today's lesson is a really good lesson. It's become one of my favorite lessons, and I often come back to it even unconsciously. And what I'm going to ask us to do this morning is I'm going to just actually read the lesson from the book, from the original lesson, and not from Training Wheels. Um, and just to introduce this class or this gathering for those who might be joining us for the first time, um, this is an open door, and this gathering is called Training Wheels, and it's where we get together to really review daily lessons of A Course in Miracles. And normally we take it from a book that I wrote called Training Wheels, where I tried to reword or approach the lessons from um, a little different viewpoint than the very traditional Christian language of A Course in Miracles. But today we're going to take it right from the book because I think it's really powerful. And I'm not going to read through the first 50 lessons, which I usually do, unless people really want me to. But otherwise, I won't. I'm just going to invite us to sit back and listen to the lesson, and then we're going to do a meditation for at least 10 minutes on this lesson. So if that's all right with everyone, then that's what we'll do this morning. So go ahead and turn your camera off so you can just really sink in and not have to worry about what you look like on camera or what you're doing. I do encourage you to just relax and be present with yourself. Whatever is happening at this moment is perfect. Don't try to change it or make it something that it's not. Just allow it to be and relax in it. So often when we don't resist what's arising in the moment, it simply resolves itself or moves into something else that's more peaceful. Today we're looking at lesson 79, and this lesson is a fundamental lesson in that the truth of it is so profound that many of us are really still grappling with the depth of this teaching. And I don't say that in any way to pass any judgment or to say, oh, I get this lesson more than anyone else, because that would not be true. This world that we have made is so profoundly beautiful in its ability to do its job, which is to pull us into separation, which is to pull us into objectifying everything, objectifying our thoughts, objectifying the other person, objectifying even the idea of awakening. So this lesson is the first of two in this concept of recognizing separation as the fundamental problem of this world. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. A problem cannot be solved if you do not know what it is. Even if it is really solved already, you will still have the problem because you will not recognize that it has been solved. This is the situation of the world. The problem of separation, which is really the only problem, has already been solved. Yet the solution is not recognized because the problem is not recognized. Everyone in this world seems to have their own special problems. And yet they are all the same and must be recognized as one. If the one solution that solves them all is to be accepted. Who can see that a problem has been solved if they think the problem is something else? Even if they have been given the answer, they cannot see its relevance. This is the position you find yourselves in now. You have the answer, but you are still uncertain about what the problem is. A long series of different problems seems to confront you. And as one is settled, the next one and the next arise. There seems to be no end to them. There is no time in which you feel completely free of problems and at peace. The temptation to regard problems as many is the temptation to keep the problem of separation unsolved. This world seems to prevent us with a vast number of problems, each one requiring a different answer. This perception places you in a position in which your problem solving must be inadequate, and failure is inevitable. No one could solve all the problems the world appears to hold. They seem to be on so many levels, in such varying forms, and with such varied content, that they confront us with an impossible situation. Dismay and depression are inevitable as we regard them. Some problems spring up unexpectedly, just as we think we have resolved the previous ones. Others remain unsolved under a cloud of denial, and they rise to haunt us from time to time, only to be hidden again, still unresolved. All of this complexity is but a desperate attempt not to recognize the problem, and therefore not to let it be resolved. If you could recognize that your only problem is separation, no matter what form it takes, you could accept the answer, because you would see its relevance, perceiving the underlying consistency or the underlying constancy in all the problems that seem to confront you. You would understand that you have the means to solve them all, and you would use the means because you recognize the problem. So we're going to practice now for about 10 minutes. We're going to sit. We're not going to ask that our problems be solved. Don't worry about solving any problem. This practice is going to consist of asking a question and then allowing whatever arises to arise. Where does the answer arise? From your own mind? No. From the oneness. Don't try to think this through. Use this time to experience your own knowing. Be curious about the answer and be confident in yourself. So like yourself, because you are fully capable of understanding what the problem is in whatever form it seems to arise. Feel your way through this and do it as deeply as you can. In a way, you are daydreaming this whole answer. By that I mean you are sinking into the quiet, into the stillness, and then watching what arises out of it. If you find your mind wandering, it may be because fear is present in some hidden form, impatience, lack of curiosity. Oh, I already know this. Disinterest. Just watch it. It's not a problem. The personal mind does not want you to solve this problem. It thrives on complexity. It will tell you there can be no end to all the problems in this world, and there's no way they can all be solved. The personal mind does not want recognition that every problem stems from the belief that the personal mind is real. So ask yourself, what is the problem? What is my problem today? And whatever arises, you may say in your mind, let me recognize this problem so it can be solved. we may recognize that we understand the problem is belief in separation. And the thought might arise, well, I understand. If only everyone else could see that separation is the problem. Is that true? The small self will say, I understand that separation or the belief in separation is a problem. I will take care of that tomorrow. Right now, I have to fix my washing machine or my refrigerator. Or pay this bill. It might even tell you that the thoughts you have about recognizing this problem are a problem. Is that true? You will see many problems today, each one calling for an answer. Our efforts will be directed toward recognizing that there's only one problem and one answer. In this recognition, all problems are resolved. In this recognition, there is peace. When there is no separation between you and being, between you and source, there is no separation between you and whatever the problem seems to be. Don't be deceived by the form that the problem takes or seems to take. And that includes where you put your attention, because attention is just another form. All of it arises from pure being. Whatever arises in the form of a problem, just tell yourself today, let me recognize this problem so it can be solved. And then suspend all judgment about the problem, about what it is, about why it's arising. Just take a pause and ask yourself the question, and then wait for the answer. Let all things move through you. Come back into the body now and feel yourself sitting in your seat. Be very gentle with this. Like yourself. Appreciate yourself. Watch your breath. Take a few natural, deep breaths, just allowing the breath to be as it is. And when you're ready, you can turn your video on and we'll have a conversation about this lesson. Thank you for being here. What a great lesson, huh? Such a good lesson. These problems seem so complex and unrelated to each other. Hmm? And what the lesson really gets to is how often we subvert the question about what the problem is. We bury it. We unconsciously say, I'll deal with that later. One of the things my teacher Zoe Marai taught me, which has been really good, was how when the emotional body gets uncomfortable, we will go into thought. It tries to ignore the emotional truth of the emotional body and goes into thinking, oh, I have X on my list today. Oh, I need to go and do Y. Instead of actually sitting with the discomfort and asking, what is this? And that's how we hide the problem, because we never really look at it. So this lesson today is a really good lesson this morning for me. Really good lesson. There seem to be so many problems. I don't think I have lived in this body in this lifetime when there have ever been so many apparent problems. And the question, does everyone else need to see that separation is the problem in order for me to feel okay? That's another subtle one. Oh, if only everyone else would get it, then I could be okay. Someday, this world will evolve to a place where we'll all be on the same page. Is that true? Does that need to be true? So that's enough from me. How did this lesson find you? And there's no need to say anything. If we want to just sit in silence for the next 25 minutes, that's fine. Richard, good morning.
Morning, everyone. Great lesson. Um, it's wonderful to know the problem has been solved. And I shared recently about the dream, and the dream is over, but we're watching the dream unfold as if we think it's new. And so that also says that the problem has been solved. The Son of God, the one child of God, who shows separation, is beginning to wake up and realize they never left the source. And now, after having projected sin, guilt, and fear out of their mind, which made our world that we're experiencing with all the problems we seem to have in it, we're now coming to individually, as dream figures in the dream, coming to the realization that the problem has been solved. And all we need to do is be the love that we are, moment to moment, regardless of what's going on in the world, regardless of what's going on in our relationship, regardless of what anything. It's just learn to be loving in every situation and every thought, word, and deed. That's pretty easy to understand, I think. To do it is another challenge. So, there were other parts of the course that say those who chose to come here. In other words, we chose to have this experience. Why did we choose? Well, because the course also says this is a classroom. The dream is a classroom. That's all it is. To help us awaken to our true identity. And then to manifest that identity within the dream. So what I like to think of, this works for me, in my opinion, as I said yesterday, that although I'm not real, Richard, the one who's speaking to you, I am an avatar of and within the dream for the truth of what is to come through me. If I clean up my mind, if I heal my mind and get rid of all this garbage that's in there that my conditioned self accumulated over the years of my existence in the dream. So we're all working on that. None of us are perfect. We're all doing the best we can to clear up our minds and be the love that we are. And we hope that some way that's going to be what the world is. And we'll be more loving, more compassionate, more the way we want it to be. That's bullshit. The world is what it is. The world is a reflection of our mental condition as a collective. The world is all the things we're hiding in our own minds. A reflection, we're looking in the mirror when we look at the world. And we're looking at the condition of our individual mind and our collective mind. And that's what we try to purify as we go forward. I believe that we want all of us, when we wake up to our true identity, want to integrate that true identity and embody it in our minds so that we manifest that perfect self that we are in truth, every thought and every word and every deed. And that is easy test. So we love everything. I found if I can love everything, regardless of what my ego tells me what's right and wrong, if I can love everything, I'm at peace. It's only when I judge anything that I lose myself in the dream and identify with the character in the dream called Richard. I'm trying to clean out Richard's attic, all of thought, so I can be a pure vessel for the love that I am in truth. And we're all working on that, I think, in our own way. So I love us all, and thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Richard. I was looking at you as you were talking, and I was thinking, that's myself telling the truth. Aren't I cute? I just love to hear myself telling the truth to myself. I'm doing a really good job. I just like it. This is so much fun. Thank you. Thanks for being my avatar. Alice and then Lonnie. Good morning, Alice.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi, everybody. I feel like the student in the Love University after Richard's explanation and about purification. And I just wanted to share and like some I recall and I remind myself often about the sense it's a sense of separation. I remember dwelling on that thinking, I think it's a real separation. And gosh, and I guess it's Goldsmith who just brings this home all the time about the only problem is, as does, of course, is this sense of separation. And it's, it's an illusion, it's imaginary. It's, my systems feel like I'm separate, that I'm solo, that I'm disconnected and not, and I sometimes I think I was in a movie about the under connections, under the earth connection of the trees and the mushrooms and the, that network. And I thought I could be that little tree who thinks I'm not, that I'm solo, the little weak little tree out in my yard who has forgotten or can't imagine that they're connected to like all that is through the root system. And so sometimes when I feel, pity party or something, I just look at a tree and, try to bring myself back. And I think also this, what about your comments about complexity and that the, the, the solo mind, the personal mind, makes it all complex. And I'm really, that's my alley of, self-discovery, is how complex I make issues and problems. And at one time I found this just question. It was like, but that's my yeah, but like, yeah, but I got to go fix the washing machine, or I have to get busy on these tasks. And so somehow, like, that's a ringing bell for me now when I say, yeah, but that's not true, because how can it be true that I'm projecting all this into the world and it's not really happening? And, yeah, but if I don't take care of my bills, the house will fall down. So, it's just like that, but calling it complexity. And I think in the reading of it, my malformations, just, I guess I just want to, and I would always write and I have a lot of books where I've written SOS in the margin, like sense of separation. And that's just because that's what's being described, or, or that's the issue. And it's like, I think it's funny that that's like a call for help, right? The SOS. Um, abbreviation of, so when I'm caught in my sense of separation, let it be a call for help, for clarification, for purification. And I think it's Goldsmith too. It said it's the only problem, right? Close the gap of separation, and golly, maybe it's that simple, so thanks much.
Thank you, Alice. I love that SOS. That's just good. One of the practices that has been helpful for me is whenever I feel, whenever I catch the feeling, which is increasingly, which happens increasingly, even of a slight irritation or a sense of depression or anxiety, to go straight to, I must be feeling separate about something. That's the SOS that you said, you mentioned. And that's what it is. It's a call for attention. Ah, there's a sense of separation here. Let's see what that is. Let's play with that. Let's find out what that is, or ask. And it's really interesting how the more we do that, the more we don't have to do that. And the more we discover really about ourselves and these little hidden beliefs that need to come into the light and then are purified by it. Lonnie, good morning. in sunny Florida.
Good morning, family. Sunny, cold Florida.
Ah, yeah, what, 64?
Oh no, our mornings have been 28
Ooh.
for the last 3 days. Everything in my yard is brown, except for my palm trees. But yeah, it's cold. It's what we consider cold here, which most of you don't.
Yeah.
There's so much popping up around this. Um, I'm gonna go right to, because there's something also that's coming up in it that I'm realizing is I don't have a word for it. We went fishing, very, very visual all the time. And as we sat back in the meditation, we went fishing on the riverbank. And I realized pretty quickly that we were fishing with an unbaited hook. And just sitting there, kind of fishing for the problems, because that's what we were instructed to do.
Mm-hmm.
The
Let me
riverbank is my,
let
go
me
ahead.
just can I just I don't I want you to finish this, but I just want to clarify something. If I suggested that you go fishing to try to find a problem, then I was not speaking correctly because the problem was supposed to just arise
Well,
as
that's why we sat on the fish on the riverbank
okay. Thank you.
and threw our line in unbaited because we were doing, I guess, what the system and what Ilani was feeling was being asked. Because the minute you mentioned it, the echo throughout the system was there are no problems. And then you said, and if you think you have no problems, then blah, blah, blah. So we sat there in conversation. And the conversation was this: well, we already know that there's no problems because there are only situations, circumstances, and consequences. So we sat with that for a bit and kind of looking at how that played out in this experience. And then there was one problem that, and I'm having a hard time saying it out loud. Wow. And I think it's a fear of heartbreak. And so the one problem that was really silently whispered was, that now that we've started talking more and sharing more, that there are those who want to believe that we think ourselves separate from the divine because we express its separation in that separate way. And that it's one thing that's stopping us from talking sometimes because the only thing we know is that the nine that express in the one. So there, and I'm being pushed right now, and I'm sorry, that there's an absolute knowing that we are of the one, even though we express through the nine out of this one. And I don't know how else to say that. But that the one problem and vibration we constantly feel as people who are aware of how we experience this existence is their belief that we believe that we are separate
Mm.
and our knowing that we are not. that as connected as we are within this system is as connected as we are with all of you. And I hear very loudly, and that is true. Eckhart Tolle offered in, I think it was in The World Made New, I don't remember which one it was, but he offered that there really are no problems for any of us. There are only the situations that we create to walk through in our lives. And so for this system, for this grouping, someone's coming to my door. I can't really say that I can really walk with the consideration of problems, primarily because all is exactly as it's supposed to be. And to search for problems, I can say this, that as we sat by that river in that meditation, Ilani kept wanting to say, but we're supposed to be looking for problems. And somebody in my system said, but we don't fish in that river anymore. We don't eat of that fish. So I'm curious about that, and I'll do more exploring around it. And as I'm listening right now, what's being offered with it is that other people see a problem doesn't mean we have to join in with it. That's the river that they're saying. I think I'm done. I think I want to stop talking. I'm not being pushed anymore. So thank you guys.
Thank
I
you,
love you.
Lonnie. Thank you. I think you spoke for most of us here. So appreciate that share. That was beautiful. Sometimes we do go looking for problems though, don't we? We really do. Right. Yeah.
I have a person, a young man that I'm working with right now, who has had what would be called a charmed life. And he was explaining to me how his process is. And he literally, almost like going, he sits back at the end of the day, and instead of going through the greatness of the day, he goes through all the ways in which he failed or perceives his failure, looking for something that has to somehow be wrong, because he keeps telling himself it can't be this good.
Good morning, Patricia. You're up next.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good to be here. I was just thinking about things arise. You call it a problem, call it whatever you want. I can take a deep breath. It's like this morning something happened, and I could respond, or I could just let it be. And by letting it be, I'm not engaging in any negative interchange. It just is. I can accept what is. So acceptance for me is a very important word. Just to accept in the now and not get hooked, not get engaged, and just take a deep breath. Because it's the now. Problems exist, situations come up, and there's always a response. Well, it's my choice what I choose to respond. And when I recognize that there isn't, call it a separation, when I come back to the now, there is no separation.
Mm.
So that's all I wanted to say.
Mm. Thank you, Patricia. John, you're going to close us out here. Good morning.
Good morning. I wasn't gonna. I was just gonna close my myself out by being silent and just listening to the joy I'm getting today. But when push comes to shove, like Lonnie says, when she gets pushed, I got shoved into this because I gotta acknowledge one thing. When she said no problems versus situations we create, I love that. We have no problems because of situations we create. Whoever said that first, it doesn't matter. But that's so, so beautiful. And I just want to think about that all day long because honestly, what a creator. What a creator. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? I'm actually owning stuff, like, hey, look at this. And do I want to continue this or want to play with this anymore? These like the courses, these toys, the prickly toys or whatever. Do I want that? But I got my problem is I created it in the first place. So hey, what a creator. Thanks, Lonnie. I love you.
We love you, John. And I have to tell you, too, I have a friend in New York who listens to these tapes. She can't stop talking about John.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, well, it's 10:58. We have time for one more. Anybody has anything they want to say? I see Sandra reaching for her unmute. Good morning.
Good morning. This was so perfect for me today. Doesn't that always seem to be true? I just want to read something from your book to end us because I loved it so much. When you were talking about the practice, you said, try not to think this through. Knowing comes from feeling beyond thinking. The rational mind cannot see beyond itself, and this, in all caps, is beyond it. And then these beautiful 3 words: experience your knowing. That, I love, something about this personality loves logic and problems and intricate details and complexity. And this just spoke to my heart that I can bypass that. I know what experiencing my knowing is. And that's what I want to do, not think about it so much. So thank you for these words, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. That's the self-luminous aspect of our being, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. Rana, do you have any updates or Livy on what's happening in an hour?
Yes, we will be having our 12-stepping meeting, and Dago is our leader today.
Oh, great. More meditation. That'll be good. All right. Thank you. We'll see
Thank
folks
you.
at noon. And yeah, go in peace.